the idea that you guys have three inherently diverse people, you got a white guy, a black guy, and an Asian guy, that are all young guys who have kind of made it in the media business, which a lot of young people would want to do, and leaving a blueprint for young people who want to go into the media is a really good idea.
It must be a new year because the BluePrint podcast is back for 2024, back and better with a vengeance. Everybody, I mean, the last couple of months has been busy for everyone. There's a lot of changes going on, especially between the three of us, and there's going to be more changes, but we've all talked about how we wanted to keep it going. It's been a while, but we are back. BluePrint podcast. How's everyone doing?
It's been a while.
I wish we had drops. I wish we had drops.
Well, we could do drops for now with ourselves, with our
post game. Yeah,
we don't have rights.
That's true. We don't have the rights to anything.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. Exactly, man. It's like, no, man. It's a blessing to revamp this BluePrint podcast. Bring it back to 2024, man. Hope everyone had a good New Year. The Kobe year, exactly. Hope everyone had a good New Year. But man, let's keep this podcast rolling for some time, man. We got a lot of good stuff, man. Obviously, everyone has busy schedules and a lot to talk about as far as like social coverage and obviously the playoffs that's going on. Lakers, struggling a little bit. And obviously our teams, as far as the Eagles, Cody's the Chargers guy and my boy P-Dog, the Steelers guy. They're in the playoffs too. So,
Hey, next episode, you're either going to see a really happy DeAndre and a really happy Parker or a real disappointing. So.
I was already going to say, I was like, DeAndre, you're already in a chipper mood. Well, if you're the day we're recording this, it's Sunday, January 14th. Mm-hmm. We still have Eagles and the Bucks to go, and the Steelers and the Bills tomorrow. But DeAndre's in a good mood because the Dallas Cowboys were eliminated from the NFL playoffs by the Green Bay Packers. I wouldn't say. I don't know if they were the biggest. Actually, they probably are. Maybe the Steelers. Sorry, Peebo, but I think the Packers are probably like close to probably like biggest underdog the entire weekend. Maybe I can't think of it. Oh, maybe the Bucks. They're definitely up there. But the Packers, I think they're the youngest team. They came out straight out of the gates and they beat Dallas. And right now, Dallas is absolutely in shambles. Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat. Dak Prescott's on the hot seat. They have a lot of free agents coming up in the off season. DeAndre, you're an Eagles fan. How are you feeling?
I feel great, man. Let me start off with this. Only because not obviously the Cowboys are in Eagles division. All right. But the Cowboys, they hang division banners. All right. That's what they've been known to do for this past 27, 28 years. Let's just get that straight. All right. They like right from the beginning, when Jordan Love had that first drive and the Packers went down to score, I said there's gonna be two things gonna happen. It's either the Packers are gonna blow them out or Green Bay's gonna win by a close one, either by a game-winning field goal or they get a big-time defensive stop.
Wow.
There was no in between. The way that game was rolling and the way Dak Prescott came onto that field, instantly him and CeeDee Lamb already had miscommunication from the jump. And then Mike McCarthy had to go talk to CeeDee Lamb, which he hasn't done all year, on that bench. And talk to him individually. You knew it was a problem, man. You knew it. And I'm tired of everyone. Can we just please stop this narrative that Dak Prescott is better than Jalen Hurts? We've seen Jalen Hurts take the Eagles to the Super Bowl. We've seen him win an NFC championship. Dak Prescott has failed to win an NFC championship and take his team to the Super Bowl. And Dak Prescott's been in the league longer than Hurts. Arguably, the Cowboys actually have a better team. I'm being honest. They arguably on paper have a better team, I think, than the Eagles this year. The Eagles they lost some guys, and obviously with the loss of the offensive and defensive coordinator. But on paper, Cowboys were supposed to be their Super Bowl year. Everything was set up for them. Home field advantage, first home game of the playoffs. And what happens? Dak Prescott shits the bed. Mike McCarthy is a terrible play caller. And all that crap that Sirianni was getting with Brian Johnson and Sean Desai on both ends on our offense and defense. Oh, Eagles have a terrible play calling. But you know what the worst part is about the Cowboys? Is that you lost at home against the 7-seed Green Bay Packers. They're not supposed to come on your home field when you guys are undefeated at home and lose. So I can go on and on, but you guys go ahead and give me your inputs.
T-Ball?
I mean, what can you say? Jay Love was cooking. Everyone fully expected, this round one, wild card weekend, etc. They fully expected Dak to at least be the best QB on the field. Like nobody had the prediction that Jay Love would be that guy, even though he is. I mean, we've seen it kind of all season. Like he's shown signs that there's a reason that they were perfectly fine with Aaron Rodgers just dipping. The future's now. And that team is going to be good for a while. Like you said, Cody, they're the youngest in the playoffs right now. Maybe the
youngest team in the league.
Yeah, in the league.
I think they are the youngest team in the league.
Yeah.
We'll confirm that. But yeah, this team, and Jones was just getting whatever he wanted. Bro, and that secondary on the Cowboys, I mean, what happened? DeAndre, maybe you could shine some more light. You see them more often in your division, but what the hell was that? I was looking at guys who were like, younger than us, who were just wide open down the field all game. It was ridiculous.
See, the thing that I would admit that is hard to guard against the Packers is that every one of the receivers and tight ends are like they're interchangeable. So like Romeo Dobbs comes out and a new guy comes in, and then Christian Watson comes out and a new guy comes in. Yeah. So you see Watson on the sideline, you see Dobbs on the sideline. All of a sudden you got these two new rookies and a new tight end in, and all of a sudden they're making the same plays that their starters are making. So that's already difficult to guard. All right. Let's start off with the Cowboys defense. Let's start with this Cowboys defense stuff. Stephon Gilmore, it's time. Let's go, bro. Your time is over. There was one play Romeo Dobbs hit him with a quick stutter, and Stephon Gilmore literally went to the middle of the field, and Romeo Dobbs all the way to the right side of the field. Perfect ball by Jordan Love. And it was just like that the whole game. And I'm tired of this narrative that the Cowboys defense is number 5 in the pass defense. They did a really good job in the pass defense. Well, it got exposed. And let me tell you something. All that trash talking that my boy James Bradbury was getting, even though he hasn't playing bad, don't get me wrong, he has. Kevin Byard, Barry Slay was out 3 weeks. Got surgery. He's back and ready to go tomorrow night. Stephon Gilmore, Deron Bland, Jaron Curse, all you guys look the same exact how we looked last 5 out of our 6 games. Guarantee. You guys look at the same game I was watching today, that Cowboys defense was a no-show. I don't care what anybody says. It was embarrassing to watch. You should not be losing at home against the Green Bay Packers. Simple as that. Simple as that. Home field advantage. Everything was set up for them. Everything.
I think
embarrassing.
I think you'll see. Well, I mean, we've already seen, like, if you saw on social media the pictures of Jerry Jones and his post game press conference right outside the locker room, where everybody was pretty much hampering him about whether he's going to fire Mike McCarthy and everything. I think it's I wouldn't say a foregone conclusion, but I think it's as likely as it will ever be. This offseason, I think they'll probably move off of him just because this is 2 years in a row of playoff failure. And the team, like I mentioned earlier, has a lot of free agents.
They have a lot of free agents, yeah.
They have a lot of free agents, so it's really not going to be the same team, especially defensively. They have, like you said, even though Stephon Gilmore didn't have a great game, he's a free agent, and I think there's still a few more. Not entirely sure on all the names, but there's a lot of pieces that are going to be moving on. Do you guys think that Mike McCarthy will get fired?
Somebody's got to be the scapegoat, right? And
I mean, let me rephrase it. Let me phrase it like this. Do you think they'll fire Mike McCarthy? I'll give you three options. Do you think they fire Mike McCarthy, or they get rid of Dak, or they get rid of both?
Ooh, okay.
I don't think they get rid of both. I'm just, with Cowboys, you never know. You never know.
Look, the thing is, we already know how this generation is. All right. Their first step is they're going to get rid of the head coach. It's never to blame.
You can't fire the players. Yeah,
can't fire the players for some reason. The blame, which I want to say for some reason. Let me rephrase that. The blame always goes to the head coaches first because they always want to take the blame for their players because they are riding for their players any day of the week. That's why I respect Sirianni, because as bad as Jalen Hurts has been playing that down the stretch, as bad as defense has been playing down the stretch, he's always going to take the criticism for them. And I feel like with McCarthy, is that he can't take the criticism for them because he does a good job of getting them to the playoffs. They're always a 12-win team and above when he's been there. But when he can't get over that hump, he can't get over that hump. And we've seen Dak Prescott. He had you know what? Like I said, I'm a realist. Dak Prescott had a spectacular season. He really did. He was undefeated at home, obviously, until today. But you got to get over that hump at some point, man. Like I said, you got home field advantage. You're rolling. You're fresh off of winning the division. Things are rolling your way, and you let a 7 seed come in your home turf and not just beat you. It was over before the second half started.
Yeah.
Like there was no way they were coming back from that lead, man. I mean, it was the margin was just too big. So the Green Bay Packers were able to have any error they want that game because they had so much cushion. I mean, Jordan Love sat out with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Like, dog, game is over at that point. Yeah. Green Bay's like, let's rest. So I don't think the pressure will be on Dak as much because he was still trying to prove a point that he can still try to build they cut the lead down, chip away, which they almost did at some point. I'm not gonna lie to you, that last 3-minute stretch is starting to look a little.
He's an empty stat pattern, though.
It was, like he Dak, is, and that's the worst part because he can't be empty stat pattern. But look, man, I think McCarthy's gone, man. You gotta at some point get over that hump. I think I saw a stat line. You know, they always had a ticker run on the bottom that he's like 11-10 in like just postseason in general, man.
Yeah.
So he's actually not really successful in the postseason at all, besides winning the Super Bowl.
I was gonna say other than the Super Bowl win with Aaron Rodgers, it's like, well, you know, what else have you done? But so I have to say, Cody, definitely, I think McCarthy's on the hot seat. I mean, it's evident, but I think that we're kind of shying away from the fact that Dak. It's about his last year of his contract.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have a high pick. I think they're somewhere in the middle, 24 or so for this year's draft. So it's like with older guys coming to their end, like the Gilmores that we mentioned, with Dak's contract coming to the end, maybe they make a complete turnaround, you know?
Maybe. Trey Lance season.
Maybe they make a move. Trey Lance season, exactly. I wouldn't put that past the Cowboys right now. Jerry Jones, I know it's not his mode. His mode is definitely, hey, I gotta win. I'm old as blank.
Yeah.
But you know, at some point you got to look yourself in the mirror and go, this team, no matter how many times we try it, it's just not it. So maybe we shoot for something that we've never done before and just go completely young. And I say do it. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but if I was them, I'd make a complete turnaround, go young and hope for the best, because you're seeing that it leads to success, like the Packers, who they just got lost to.
Exactly. And I mean, but see, the thing is that Packers have LaFleur, who is
as a good coach. Yeah.
He's mentally, obviously he is mentally prepared. I mean, the pressure was definitely on the Cowboys more than it was on the Packers. We knew that from the jump. So you've seen it on that first drive for the Cowboys. You've seen Dak, like he was just, everything was just so antsy. He was like, you know, and everything was 2 CD.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you got other targets. You know, you got Ferguson. You know, they got Tolbert. They got other guys that they can kind of throw the ball to. Brandon Cooks, I thought he would be more a factor this year for the Cowboys. Obviously, him coming from the Texans and stuff like that. But man, he was like, you know, they had pieces, but it felt like come to the playoffs, they couldn't just build that cohesiveness together, man. And it just sucks to see because, like I said, being an Eagles fan, you got to be a realist too in this business. And Cowboys are a good team, but you can't let that happen losing at home by that wide of a margin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they'll keep Dak. I think they're gonna fire Mike McCarthy just because we talked about it earlier. Before we started recording, the NFL coaching free agency this upcoming year is going to be like as good as it ever gets. I mean, you have Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, apparently, Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick. Ben Johnson seems like, you know, like he's like an up and coming offensive coordinator. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of vacancies, and there's a lot of, if that Cowboys job opens up, you know, Dak, CD, Micah Parsons, you know, there's a lot of pieces there. That's, you know, it could be an attractive spot for a lot of these free these head coaches that are free agents. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Eagles, Bucks. We'll kind of walk around the rest of the league. Eagles, Bucks. DeAndre, you're Bucks fans. Let's get a quick prediction in. We talked about it off the air, but we'll get to the Sirianni and stuff in a little bit. But both of you guys predictions for Bucks, Eagles, and then we'll go to Bills and Steelers tomorrow or for tomorrow too.
I think the Eagles win by a close one. I think they win by at least. They win by 3. I think they'll cover that spread. The Eagles are 3 -3. So we'll see how they do. Honestly, the way that they beat the Bucks earlier in the year was, running down their throats, man. Just run the ball. Good things happen when you give the ball to DeAndre Swift. Let's get Kenneth Gainwell going. Let's get Boston Scott going. That's why the Eagles were effective on these Super Bowl runs, because they had interchangeable running backs. The Eagles always been known as a powerhouse like run team. And then when that happens, everything else opens up. The deep ball opens up for Smith, for AJ Brown. But we've been seeing that, obviously they've been struggling to play calling on both ends. Obviously for defensive side, we want to contain, Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield, he's really good right now at throwing a short pass and they eat up yards. And then all of a sudden you see him take a deep shot and then Mike Evans is wide open. They got really good weapons too. Rashad White is obviously good as a running back. We got to give him his flowers. And defense is good too, man. Antoine Winfield Jr., they still got, I think they still got David White. They got all these guys still that were on that Tom Brady team. So, the Bucks are a really easily slept on team, man. And they still got Todd Bowles, who obviously is a gamer too, man. He'll probably game plan, strategize. But I feel like the Eagles will win probably 24-21. I think it'll be, close throughout the whole game.
P-Bell?
I like that.
Sorry, P-Bell, Steelers, Bills?
No. Oh, well, I was going to say, hey, Baker's one of the best stories in the league right now.
I know he is. Underrated storyline.
Yeah, a very underrated storyline. Probably comeback player of the year, depending on how the voters look at depending on how they look at it, because they might give Flacco some attention just because of the way he took him to the playoffs, and he's
he
like,
did take him to the playoffs.
He's 60 years old.
Man. Damn.
I know we could maybe dive into some CJ Stroud's faking that booty a little bit.
Yeah.
But I agree with DeAndre real quick. I think the Eagles are going to take this by field goal touchdown. It's going to be a close game, but
I would say 6. I'd say 6.
It's going to come down to just inexperience
Yeah.
towards the end of a game, and the Eagles got that. Now I know that it's going to be tough for the Eagles though, because no team has made it to the Super Bowl or gone that far in a stretch after having lost, was it 5 out of the last 6, something around that?
Wow.
So we'll see. But when you're looking at my Steelers, I'm not very confident. I'm not gonna lie. You're going into this match without TJ Watt, which is already scary. The game has gotten postponed, so it's like there's this weird. Maybe we get extra time to prep, but at the same time, sometimes you just want to get into it. You just want to go and shoot for the best, because like the Packers, very heavily underdog, and it's like, okay, we got nothing to lose, we're just going to go out there. We got Mason Rudolph starting. There's another storyline. It's like, how long are they going to give the reins to Mason Rudolph, because Pickett's healthy? You don't know. I think they're running with Rudolph the whole time though. I still think the Bills are going to take it because they're so tough to beat at home. These are two teams who were potentially not going to be in the playoffs.
Yep.
And they both finished off really strong, but the Bills were on like a 5-game win streak.
Yep.
So they're coming in as a hot team.
Winning the division too, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. From like 7 seed to 2 seed is ridiculous.
Yep.
The only hope the Steelers have is that Josh Allen does what Josh Allen does, makes plenty of mistakes and throws the ball to the young back end that the Steelers have there. Joey Porter Jr., stud back there at the QB, CB. And then, still Highsmith and those guys are no joke. So the Steelers D can possibly win this for them, but it's going to be all on the D. Obviously, the offense is so one-dimensional, and as a Steelers fan, I hate to admit it, but they really have nothing other than
they're a 10-point favorite. Buffalo's a 10-point favorite.
Yeah,
but I'll say the conditions that they're playing. I don't know what the conditions are like tomorrow, but I
don't think anybody knows right now.
If it's cold and it's wintry and it's snowy, feel like it plays into the Steelers' hands a little bit just because that is classic Steelers football, right?
Very ugly football. If it's ugly
right?
football, the Steelers have a chance.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to say they're totally out of it, but the weather does kind of play into their hands a little bit, right? Josh Allen probably will still be able to throw the ball around, but I'm assuming we're going to see like 30 rushes and like 40 rushes out of the running back course for each team.
I'm about to say, how the Steelers are in the run game, like run defense? Are they good run defense?
The run defense is just fine. Yeah, it is the I mean, their defense has never been the problem. I think I'd have to look at the numbers, but they're still a top, 10D in the league.
Yeah.
And it's really going to come down to, can Mason Rudolph get this offense moving enough? Can they mix enough of Najee and Jaylen Warren with some throwing to get the offense moving? Because the defense is going to be fine, even without TJ. And they're probably going to want to win it for him. Like he willed them to the playoffs, leading the league in sacks again. So we'll see. I'm actually really excited. I'm more excited for that matchup. I know, I'm sorry, but more excited for that matchup than I am the Eagles-Bucks.
Of course. I don't blame you, man. I mean,
it's two teams that weren't going to make the playoffs. And now they're
exactly, man. Hey, I don't blame you, man. Is Fitzpatrick playing?
Fitzpatrick is healthy. I didn't see him on the inactive. I had it right here. Let's take a look. Because I believe it's just TJ Watt.
Fitzpatrick's playing, man. And
everyone's pretty much playing besides
yeah.
It doesn't seem like anybody's like out.
I mean, Gabe Davis is big. We didn't mention that.
Gabe Davis out.
That's because
Gabe Davis out for the Bills.
Yeah,
and he's gonna have issues throwing because it's cold anyways. So if you already don't have your number one weapon, or top weapon, it's like,
yeah. Because Stephon Diggs, he's like what's interesting. The Bills are interesting because Stephon Diggs, he kind of takes a lot of plays off. I realize
he's supposed to be your number one weapon. He's supposed to be an all-star.
Watching him. I watched him against that Dolphins when they play at Dolphins and the Dolphins are at home. Like he'll like do like a deep route, and like all of a sudden like they're subbing him out.
Yeah,
he's on the sideline. Then he comes right back in. He's like Tyreek Hill as far as like they kind of come in and play, they kind of sit out and play. Come in and play, they sit out a couple. It's kind of interesting how they play. So, but James Cook is really good for the Bills. He's been.
He's a really good player.
Doing well on the ground. He's also been doing well as far as receiving too. So I mean that's interesting as well because he came out and torched a lot of teams lately when Josh Allen was able to get that ball to Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. So now that'll be an interesting matchup.
People prediction.
Even though I was way on the other side, I mean I still have to predict just so that I put it in the universe. I have to predict that the Steelers get the dub. Probably going to be an ugly game. So like 24-17 Steelers.
24-17.
Wow. There's no way anyone scores over 25 in that game. But because it's playoffs, I think it's going to be a little more than there's.
I think it'll be a 17-10 game.
17-10.
That's every Steeler game. You're right.
I'll go 17-14. The Steelers take it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I think I'm going to have to take the Bills on this one. Unfortunately, I might take the Bills on this one. Man. They're rolling right now, man. They're rolling. I'm not saying the Steelers aren't a good team. I'm saying the Bills they're rolling right now.
Yeah. And just to go around the league just a little bit more before we dive into some basketball. Browns beat the Texans. The Texans beat the Browns. CJ Stroud pretty much came into, he was already good the entire year, but he just kind of like put himself on a national platform by winning a playoff game. Puka Nacua, CJ Stroud, who's winning the Rookie of the Year.
I mean,
I would say Puka wins just because he broke records. I don't think CJ Stroud, he probably broke some records, but I don't know, like, if it was like.
I think he broke records within like
the organizations. I don't know if he broke records within because he missed a few games. I think Puka wins it just because he broke some league records, and I feel like
because records are. I mean, awards are like QB awards. We already know QB awards. So
exactly.
I feel like there might be. It's supposed to be a regular season award, but I feel like the playoff recency bias might play a little bit into that. I think Puka should win it.
I mean,
but if you give it to CJ
still broke
Yeah,
Puka
right.
broke it,
Exactly.
a
Right.
record in the game one. Yeah,
I
so.
think CJ Stroud, if he wins it, I wouldn't be surprised, but I still think Puka deserves it over
I
CJ.
think Puka deserves it too, man. He does.
Dolphins lose
He's a
to the
dog.
Chiefs. Taylor Swift mania continues on.
Hey, come on.
Chiefs beat the
This is like-
Dolphins
Can
in a
that was that the most cringe like moment in life as far as like anything that happened at Arrowhead Stadium? Like, bro, that was
It did hurt. It did hurt seeing a bunch of white people swag surf. I'm not gonna lie.
I-
As a fellow white person, I'm sorry.
I stopped watching
That was-
Chiefs games in general, like halfway through the season. Also because they weren't playing as well, but also the Taylor Swift thing was kind of like, all right, guys, like as much as I respect the league for milking it and getting the cash and the eyes to get to their products through Taylor Swift, I respect it. Respect the game.
I mean, the most exciting thing that happened in that game was just his helmet cracking.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
literally.
yeah.
It was kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a dry game.
Yeah, as much as it felt like a beatdown though, a little bit. Like even though the score doesn't, it didn't. It was like a game where like the Dolphins really never really got back into it as soon as the Chiefs kind of like ran away with it, and then
Someone got to teach her how to swag surf. That's all I gotta say.
That hurts.
and then the last game that finished today, Sunday, January 14th, as we're recording, the Lions beat the Rams in I would say the most entertaining game of the. I would say it depends on who you're
100%.
talking to. The Cowboy game was probably more entertaining for DeAndre, but in terms of competitiveness, the Lions and the Rams were pretty much coming down to the wire. Both teams played great. The Rams just couldn't get it done. I think there were you could argue a few calls by the refs. You could argue a few calls by McVay, not going for it and punting it back to the Lions. That pretty much sealed the game. I guess they're the only LA team because the other LA football team is looking for a head coach and a GM. Rams, Lions. Any thoughts, you guys?
I mean, 24-23 came down to the last minute. This comes up every year in football. It's the only thing that really irks me about the game is that a football game can finish after a minute 30 just with some knees. It's always hurt me, and that's kind of why I've favored basketball. But we're not going to go there.
That's interesting.
Early red zone play
and
early red zone calls really hurt the Rams. I mean, they could have had it. I understand that there was a last second, maybe missed called PI. But what it came down to was just play calling because both Goff and Stafford really put their all into it and played incredible. Shout out to St. Brown and Puka. They both did their thing. So, I mean, it was such an even match, and it just came down to a few mistakes there in the red zone. But it was a super fun match to watch, and it sucks that we can't cover our LA team any further going into the playoffs. But shout out to the Lions, man. It's been 32 years? 22 years? Yeah, 22 years. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I saw tears in those stands, and I started to feel it. I was like, damn, even while I'm living in LA, I kind of was happy for those Detroit Lions fans. So
DeAndre?
Nah, I just think that like T-Bell, he nailed it, man, as far as like play call and stuff. The Rams kind of had an iffy start in the beginning. Lions got off to that quick start, man.
Yep.
And, once you give a teammate like that a quick start, you got to play, like come from behind. It's kind of tough. The Rams, they're capable of doing it, though, in that game. I mean, they held the Lions only 3 points in the whole second half. But when you have to play catch up, it's kind of hard, especially when you're playing on the road.
Yep.
They obviously can make that decision. They're one PI away from winning that game.
yeah,
They're one. Fourth down, they could have went for it. It could have probably been a game decider right there. But it's all like what ifs, what ifs. But the way the Rams season went, being 10-7, a lot of people thought that it was going to be a rebuild season for them. But McVay, obviously he's a mastermind. He's obviously one of the best coaches in the league, and he came in with that mentality like where there's no such thing as a rebuild. Where every single game we're gonna play, it's gonna be full on. Like let's go. But the Rams pulled a lot of people wrong, man, because I think if the Rams would have won, I don't think people would have been surprised that the Rams won that game.
Yep.
Honestly.
all the people voted for them. Everybody on the NFL,
I think this was
NFL
everybody's
today,
like
voted
it
Rams.
was like their upset of
They're upset.
Yeah.
And
even though the line
like I
was
said,
3.5.
So
exactly.
I mean, like I said, the Rams had a hell of a season, man. I mean, obviously, you love to see Jared Goff have success too, man. And I mean, now it's time to see what else he can do in the playoffs, man. As far as Jared Goff and the Lions, I love Dan Campbell. He's always fired up, man. He's one hell of a coach for his guys. You know, he's a perfect fit for that Detroit team, man, because they need a fired up coach like that. So we'll see what they do. See if they make any noise. I mean,
They play the winner of tomorrow.
they will play.
Yeah, because the Packers are the lowest.
Packers are the lowest seed.
Yeah,
the lowest
Yeah.
seed.
it would be if
So.
the Steelers
Crazy.
win, they'll go. The Steelers
Eagles
will
Lions
play
will
the
be fun.
Ravens and the
Yeah.
Eagles Lions.
Eagles Lions will be fun. The last time the Eagles played the Lions, though, they played on the road, and the Eagles won that game. It was last year.
Okay, so we'll see. Moving from one LA team to the other, the Lakers currently sit in they're 19 and 21.
Was this 2023 or 2024?
19
I'm not sure.
and
What you
19 and
talking about?
21. They just came off a loss against Utah on Saturday night yesterday, and they're going to play OKC tomorrow as we're recording this. Who's I think the second best team in the West.
Yep.
There was a few of us in this recording that were vouching for one Mr. D'Angelo Russell, who did come off his best game, by the way, yesterday. I would say his best game.
Put that out
But
there.
I would say some of us in this current recording have switched sides, and one of us maybe have decided to ride with the D'Lo train. DeAndre Parker, the Lakers are 19 and 21. The trade deadline's coming up in I think 4 weeks?
I mean, as of today, I think
It's like maybe less, 3.5 weeks now, probably.
I think Austin Reeves and Rui are now trade eligible. Today.
Okay. Yeah. So 3.5 weeks away from the trade deadline. The Lakers will make moves. It's guaranteed. Like they do every year. DeAndre, Parker, and I were on the D'Lo train. So we'll let you start off on how the Lakers are currently doing, what you think can change. The floor is yours.
I don't want to go too long. I don't want to make this a really long rant. But obviously, there's no question that the rotation for the Lakers is awful. I mean, you got games where Austin Reeves is starting and DeAndre Russell's coming off the bench, and then they try to flip that. It's like, I mean, what are you doing, man? You can't have a guy like Austin Reeves starting. Obviously, his success comes from the bench. He's a great sixth man. He gives you that great spark off the bench because he provides scoring. He does try hard defensively. Obviously, he's not the best defender, but he does, make up for it, tries to on the defensive end when he can. But offensively, he's like that motor that they need coming off the bench. Right now, they don't have that guy that comes off the bench who has that motor, who gets them going. Schroeder was that guy last year when he came off the bench. Whether he was scoring or not, he was always getting up on somebody defensively. He made those little plays down on the floor for loose balls. So Schroeder was that energetic guy that the Lakers needed when they had that playoff push. Whether you like it or not, they're missing a guy like Schroeder. D'Angelo Russell, I'm going to say it again. I never said that he sucked. I just don't think he tries.
We'll see.
I didn't say he sucked. I don't remember saying that he sucked. But I do remember saying that man needs to go because he's just not a great fit. I mean, I don't respect someone who goes on their own platform, who all of a sudden has a podcast. I mean, who knew that? I guess this man just started a podcast out of nowhere, and then you have the nerve to, pretty much said that if the ball's in my hands, we run a 2-man game. Just let me do what I can do because I know what I can do. Listen, brother. There's a reason why you've been on numerous teams. There's a reason why, bro. There's a reason why that you've been moved to the bench. They try to run the 2-man game with you, and it just hasn't been working. If you were so efficient in a 2-man game, then why the hell are your numbers not skyrocketing with Anthony Davis? You should be having double-doubles then if the 2-man game is so efficient. You should be shooting the ball really well. The 2-man game is what you do best. There should be other guys who should be adding to the scoring if you run the 2-man game the best. Because if you run a 2-man game, it opens up the floor because they have to worry about the roller and it creates space for other guys to shoot. So why aren't those guys not efficient as well if you can read the floor? That's all I'm saying. And I'm not blaming the total blames on him. There's other guys that can provide that scoring too because, Taurean Prince, I mean, he's hot, he's not hot. I mean, it's one or the other. There's no in between. Christian Wood, we see what Christian Wood does, man. I mean, oh man, literally LeBron went on a post game interview and
Buckets.
said, "I thought Christian Wood cares about his buckets. That's all he cares about." That's not LeBron just saying that. He's really meaning that. That's all he cares about is shooting the damn basketball and scoring. So, well, you got a defensive-minded coach like Darvin Ham who came in and said that that's his true emphasis is that he loves defense. It's like, okay, man, you like defense, but where are those hungry guys at under the defensive end? We don't have that one guy who can step up and be like, all right, I can guard this guy 94 feet. Turn him. Like I said, Schroeder was that guy. He'll pick somebody up 94 feet. And they had the energy, that spark. There's just the offense is really stagnant. Well, Anthony Davis, as much shit he's been getting, he's been playing really well. Arguably, he didn't say he's MVP.
First team.
You can't ask no more from LeBron. I'm sorry, man. The man is 39 years old and he's playing out of his mind. What else can we ask that man to do? Sorry, I mean, what else can we ask?
Go Kings.
But there's no real offense. They have the one thing that they don't have. Lakers don't have an identity. They don't know if they're not an inside out team.
That part.
Everything is inside. All their buckets are inside the paint. They're not going to kill you from three. So that relieves stress on teams that play defensively because the scheme is, okay, we don't get beat in the paint, we're good. We let the Lakers. If they're hot tonight, hey, that was their night. Teams are starting to that point where that's how they're guarding them. Yep. Hey, if we lose to Torian Prince and D'Angelo Russell, all right. We lose Austin Reeves, okay. We can't lose to LeBron, we can't lose to AD. Yeah. Simple as that. Like, and that's why teams like the Timberwolves are doing well right now. Teams like the Thunder are doing well right now because they have an identity.
Yep.
They know how to. The offense is fluid.
Yep.
They're gonna have a great game from Shea. You know he's gonna get that. Yep. You're gonna have a great game from Shea. You're gonna have a triple double one night from Josh Giddey. There's just all these different things that happen on that Thunder team that makes them efficient. I saw people look. I'm just speaking facts, man. I'm just seeing the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. The reason why they're both number one in the West right now because they have an identity, and Lakers don't have a team identity right now.
I think you hit the nail on the head, DeAndre. No identity. I mean, every other good team in the league, like you just mentioned, OKC, Boston, anybody you want to mention, they have an identity. The Clippers, yes, in terms of lineup identity, they have one lineup that they can go to when they need it. Every other team has that. The Lakers, that hasn't been there the whole year. I mean, you can throw out, okay, injury here, injury there. That doesn't matter. You should still have a lineup that you expect. Okay, if there's an injury, a guy goes down, that's okay because you have Reddish right there, But no, the whole season it's been someone different. The lineup has been different every single time. And it's like we were supposed to preach consistency this year. This was supposed to be the year that it was like, oh, we're bringing in the team that we made a Western Conference final run with.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency, and then we've seen none of it. And, surprisingly, the offense actually hasn't been terrible compared to last year. Yeah. It's like field goal wise, percentage wise, I mean, like they're fine in the league. They're maybe in that middle somewhere around there. It's just they don't shoot enough. It's like you put it perfectly. They're so stagnant. It's really been the defense though that's been tough, which is so hard to watch because it's like getting out rebounded allowing offensive rebounds so often and consistently. It's just painful. There will be changes. I mean, we saw it last year. They were 19-21 then. Yeah, at this point last year, they were also 19-21, and changes had to happen. So, if we're expecting anything, there should be changes. And unfortunately, some names that I think the Lakers are accustomed to really liking, some fan favorites, I think are going to be gone. And it's going to suck because they did have a nice culture with that run last year. And it's like what happened? What happened? And I mean, what really happened was that the small amount of shooters that they did have, they got rid of. And it's been like that every year. Yep. They get rid of somebody who's potentially going to be a really good shooter for them moving forward, and they're just like, see ya. You could think back to the KCPs. You could think back to Beasley's at the highest 3-point percentage right now in the league. Yeah. What the fuck? I mean, like, what the hell? Yeah. The shooters, guys who could knock down at a consistent clip. Yep. I give respect to Torrey, and I mean, he's been asked to do a lot more than I think he was expected going into this season. Yeah.
I would say TP is like, as much as we can say like he's inconsistent, which I do agree with. I think when he's really hot, he's really hot, and when he's really cold, he's really cold. But out of the TP, out of a player like that, like you'll take the inconsistencies. Like on the nights he's hot and the nights he's cold, it's like at least like in terms of volume he's shooting at. His numbers, I'm not 100% sure, but for the most part, when he's taking threes and everything, it's pretty consistent on the amount of threes he takes.
Yeah.
And at least on defense, you get the same effort like every night in, every night out. So consistently at being inconsistent, some may say, but I think you will take that if TP goes off like every other night or every like 2 or 3 games. It's like you'll take that at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. It's going to be real difficult for the Lakers to turn things around. I mean, I know that I have to give so much respect to AD because this is the first time I've seen him kind of like something is not just play, but like attitude wise.
Yeah.
Something is flipped. The last 2 games are literally the only games where he's been timid and it hasn't gone his way, but that's okay because you've been balling out the other 30
however many games. Yep.
Yeah. So, but attitude wise, I'm seeing him in post games say stuff like, this is just unacceptable. Like, we got to get it together. Whereas other people like Ham are kind of like, oh, well, we'll see what we can do with different lineups and see how we can change things around. Whereas AD is just like, dude, this is unacceptable. Like, we're getting out rebounded. I got to step up. That was my fault last night. Taking accountability. And I'm not really seeing anybody else on this team take accountability. And it's really, really tough. So maybe we'll get some dogs at the trade deadline.
So I think
DeJounte Murray, a dog.
DeJounte Murray is what everyone's saying. Zach LaVine's been there since like the beginning of the season. I think there's a bunch of trades. Yeah, I mean, like, I think there's a lot of trades that potentially are on the table for the Lakers to go out and get if they're willing to part with certain pieces, right? Austin Reeves, AR and Rui are both 2 players that I think will be interesting to look at just because I think they provide a lot of value on the Lakers right now. I don't think they'll trade them, but I think if there's a piece out there that the Lakers and Rob and I would say Rob, LeBron and Darvin think that can make the team better, not just this year, but in the future with AD. I think they might go out and get that move potentially. I don't know.
I'm just ready to see the memes with Rob with the waves and
say, exactly,
let
right.
Rob cook.
Get Rob on the phone.
I think we can all agree, as much as D'Lo is a beloved name in LA, and I think he'll always be like kind of like an icon in a different way, right? It's like it's like one of those Kuz players, right? It's like Kuz, AC, like those players, like they're in that category of like icons, quote unquote, of like the LA culture and everything. I think he'll always be there. I think we can all agree that he'll probably be moved by the deadline. I don't know where. I think he's kind of at this point, like the performance on Saturday, like his trade stock goes up, his trade value goes up. The better he plays the next couple of weeks, I think the better trade value he has, because I think he can play in the right, I wouldn't say system, but in the right system for his play style. I think he'll thrive like he did in like Brooklyn and in some spots.
Can I just say this one thing about D'Lo? I don't necessarily have an issue with his podcast and some of the things he said too. But what I do have an issue with, and this has got to stop, I need to just, all podcasters listening right now, please do not eat fruit while you are podcasting. Yo, D'Lo, man, I have your back so often, dog. But I can't support you in this venture. Eating fruit during the podcast was killing me, bro. It was just nonstop, like, oh, and my skin was crawling. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Basketball aside, no eating fruit on your podcast. Thank you.
I think D'Lo will get moved at the trade deadline. I just the move that they'll make, I don't know if it feels like such a weird trade. I mean, every trade deadline's weird in the sense that I feel like there's no pieces for them to go out and make that changed the team subtly. I feel like all the names that are out there are like, Siakam, Levine, DeJounte Murray. Like, I wouldn't say they're like big stars, but they're stars where you kind of have to move a lot of pieces to go and get for the trade deadline. And it's like, I don't like, none of those names really like make me like, yeah, I'm willing to part ways with like a Rui potentially, you know? It's like, I don't know. Those guys like don't move the needle for me. And I think D'Lo will get moved. I just don't know for who. I think it'll be for like little pieces here and there. I don't know who's out there.
So for the second year in a row,
the Lakers are missing a true point guard. They're missing
That's true. They're missing Schroeder. Like Schroeder, like by far.
No, I'm just thinking that the time they won the bubble championship when they had when they had Rondo. Yeah, perfect. Like arguably Rondo was probably a great fit for them because he had that championship DNA. He was able to rub off on the young guys on that team.
Yeah.
But he came in with expectations like, look, I'm here with you guys to win. I'm here to win a championship, and that's the only goal we have. And obviously, Rondo wasn't the only guy on that team that was, that pushed the Lakers to that level. Yep. AC was on that team. As much crap that JaVale McGee gets on Shaq and the Fool and everything, there's one thing that JaVale McGee does do, and he's going to play hard every single night. And the Lakers are missing that guy. JaVale McGee will come in, he might make a mistake on the offensive man, miss a dunk or miss a layup or something like that. But then all of a sudden you see him come down, he's blocking a shot, and everyone's energetic, and everyone's on the bench, and like it rallies the team. He had that energy. The Lakers don't have that guy. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like LeBron and AD can't do it every single night with them two by themselves. It's tough. It's tough to do, man. It is really tough. You need a solid guy to come off the bench. You need that solid role player who's going to knock down the open shot for you and then come down and get a stop for you. Like they're missing those guys. Like Danny Green was that guy. Unfortunately, he had a kind of struggle season with the Lakers, but you had to respect him on that end. He was able to knock down the three ball, but he would defend. So like the Lakers are missing like those pieces. They're missing those guys that know their roles.
That team was so perfect, man.
It was a perfect team.
Looking back on it, that team was so perfect.
I think
it's funny what you mentioned about. Sorry, Cody. About the true PG. When the Lakers looked best against Utah the other night. This is gonna sound ridiculous, but it was when low-key Skylar Mays was running that offense, and he would attack. He would attack, get to the hoop easily. He has a nice ass spin move, and then he would kick it out to people who were wide open because of his like aggression attacking. And it was like, unfortunately, Vando on the other end of those passes. But a true PG being able to just attack, kick, kind of get the defense sucked in a bit is exactly what they need. And it's not D'Lo because he's not known as an aggressor,
Exactly. So, like I said, hey, shout out to Russ. Much crap that Russ is getting, my boy Westbrook.
Westbrook
right there.
If Westbrook was on this team,
Celtics looking good.
If Russell Westbrook was on this Lakers team, they would be.
They would be 19. They'd be 19.
They'd be 19 and 21, like barely, like like a
hey,
few.
But see, that's the thing though. Like Westbrook's now understanding his role, and he is perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
So he comes in the game, he's playing 25, 26 minutes. He knows what he has to do. I'm gonna get in there and get an old board. I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna play defense. He's actually not shooting the ball too bad either. I haven't seen any highlights of him shooting on the side of the backboard. So that's a blessing.
You're right. He's having fun too. He's having fun.
He's having fun, man. And like he's knowing his role. He's like, okay, I know what I gotta do for us to have success. At this point, he wants to win. He wants to win. He don't care about what it's at the end of the day, he don't care what his stat line looks like. He'll have 4 or 5 turnovers, but at the end of the day, if they're winning, he's like, all right, my team, we winning. That's all that matters. And obviously they figured it out. So it sucks that a team when they have three superstars on that team that they figure out quickly. I mean, it is tough to see, man. It's tough to see.
Yeah,
obviously Lakers are still owning them right now because Lakers obviously are 2-0. I think they're 2-0 against them right now.
They're 2-0. November and the other week. I would say my New Year's resolution for the Lakers is one, get healthy, which I think is talked about a little bit.
Well, we just lost Cam today.
Yeah, I think it's talked about a lot, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, it can't be excuses, right? It can't be excuses if you're injured and everything." AD is saying like injury can't be an excuse. I will say yes, that is true. It can't be an excuse, but when you lose a lot of pieces like Rui for a little bit there, Cam's out, Gabe Vincent will probably never, not never, sorry, but we won't see what he'll look like until maybe towards the end of the season, right? We won't know what he'll look like. AD and LeBron have been consistent, right? In terms of, I mean, LeBron was sitting out on Saturday, but those three guys that Cam, Rui, and Gabe Vincent, those were guys that people were like, or at least Gabe Vincent and Rui, like those were two guys that everyone was saying like can help make a difference with this Lakers squad. So health, and I'll say my second, even though we're like 14 days late, New Year's resolution for the Lakers, go out and get Alex Caruso. I don't know how you're going to get it done. Go get Alex Caruso, right? It's like, it just seems like not the perfect fit, but it's a guy that you can for sure go out and get that, helps defensively
in the lineup. Yeah.
Helps defensively and is shooting at a lot better clip than when he was on the team. So I would say get healthy and go get AC. Those are my New Year's resolution. You guys have any New Year's resolutions for the Lakers before we head out?
Yeah, I like what you said, man. But it's just other teams are hurt too. Other teams are hurt.
No,
too.
I don't disagree. I don't think it should be an excuse, but I feel like with this Lakers team, with how, and I'll say this, LeBron, as much as he's a great player and everything, morale is such a big thing in his locker rooms, in the sense that if you can tell that LeBron and AD aren't feeling it, and that might be coach, might be players, it might be whatever, it might be both, and it's a combination of both most of the times. If they're not feeling it, you got to solve it in some ways, and that comes with every LeBron, whether he was in Miami, whether he was in Cleveland the first or second time around. Like with him, it has to be, the morale has to be great amongst the locker room, and it has to be good against the coach. And I think as much as injuries plays a part, it just doesn't help with the morale thing with the locker room and the coach. I feel like injuries just make it way worse. Like it just deepens the hole that they're in.
Yeah, the cracks are showing.
Yeah.
I knew that something was up and changes are happening soon once I started to see Colin Sexton get under AR's like skin. AR is not easily he does not easily get agitated, and he was getting bugged by Sexton. And I knew at that point I was like, okay, there's the mentally this team is not all there.
Yeah.
So get right mentally. That would be my third New Year's resolution. DeAndre, the floor is yours again.
Trade D-Lo.
Honestly, man,
go get Westbrook.
If he was to stay, man, like figure it out as far as like what can you do to help the team out, as far as help them win. It's like you say you do well as far as running the point and letting them do what you got to do. Once he out, I mean, he did show a little bit in that Utah game when he was making shots. But my thing is, what do you do when you're not making shots? And that doesn't just go for him individually, that goes for the whole team. What do you do? What else do you do if you're not making shots, when your shots not falling? Because it's like that every single night almost with the Lakers. There's nights they shoot the ball really, really bad. So how are you gonna make up for a defensive end? So if they don't make any moves, which I highly doubt that they won't be doing that, but if they don't, how do you figure it out going forward this season? What do you guys what can you switch up after this All-Star break? When the All-Star break comes, okay, what are you guys gonna do as far as like, okay, how are you gonna game plan? How are you gonna prepare yourself with these upcoming opponents? Because it feels like when they come in the game, it's like they're out there just playing AAU ball sometimes. There's no real strong game plan.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, okay, how are you guys watching the things you need to as far as film as well? Like there's a lot of little things that go into it. If they were to make a move, if they were to make a trade for someone that's going to bring value as far as shooting. You don't need to add a third superstar. You don't need to add a Zach LaVine. You don't need to add a DeJounte Murray. I'm sorry. What value does DeJounte Murray have?
I agree.
He's a great defender.
He doesn't shoot at a good clip.
He doesn't shoot a great clip. He's
shooting better, but it's like
only upside is the contract is less. It's not like
respect.
Yeah,
but you don't need like superstars. I don't understand why this NBA is like we need superstars.
I mean, DeJounte's not really.
DeJounte is like a.
I'm not calling him a superstar, but I'm just saying in general.
Player.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I hear you.
superstar, but like fringing on like not superstar, but like fringing on like star slash like
He's an all-star. He's an all-star.
yeah, like
He's an
Yeah,
all-star.
but I understand what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
I
need
get
a
it.
Like you don't need a superstar. You need guys who are gonna fit perfectly with LeBron James and Anthony
Get a
Davis.
Boyan Bogdanovic. Get a
Honestly, I wouldn't be mad at that.
get
Boyan
like a
Bogdanovic
Joe
he
Harris.
shoots the ball. He shoots the ball. Okay, I don't know about Joe Harris. That man ain't healthy right now either. But I'm just saying, just in general, like guys like that. Like Boyan Bogdanovic does well. He doesn't need the ball in his hands. When he gets the ball, he's able to create his own jump shot. But he doesn't really give up that much defensively. I don't really recall him being like, "Oh, Boyan Bogdanovic is a terrible." Nah, I mean, he's probably not the best, but he's able to take that stretch for like we got to make sure we get on him on the closeout. There's sometimes we got Vanderbilt in the game, like you said, it's like he's in the corner, like damn, but you can't take him out because like he does really well defensively. So like I said, they need to figure out that lineup rotation too, and that's my third one right there. The lineup rotation's got to get fixed if they want to have success the rest of this season. But that's it for my end with the Lakers. There's a lot more we can tap in because we can pinpoint any little thing that's wrong with them.
Exactly.
But they're still on the hunt where they're kind of honestly where you want to be 19 to 20 before the All-Star break. Have time to figure it out. You still got, 2-3 more months before playoffs hit. You want to make sure don't get in the play-in. I think they should avoid the play-in. My simple as that.
We've been asking that for the last 4 years.
And they always are in it.
Yeah.
But I feel like they need to get out. If they're in the play-in, I feel like they'll lose.
19 and 21, the Lakers, see what happens. There are going to be moves. I'm sure we'll talk about it as the future comes. It's 3.5 weeks away, so it's really not going to be that far away from what we're going to see the new Lakers players. And I feel like it's a shoe-in pretty much that they're going to be active in the trade deadline. The Eagles, we'll see what they'll do tomorrow. Steelers, P-Bell Steelers, we'll see what they'll do tomorrow. This has been the Blueprint. We're back. 2024, we're back. And hopefully we're gonna be recording more episodes for you guys to listen and watch and enjoy. So I've been Cody Lou.
Parker Bell.
D Hawk.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
Yes, sir.
Peace.